What's going on, Soul Nation? Ginger Prime here, and we have a real hot topic for us to discuss today. If you guys haven't seen the news, some leaks from New World's alpha testing kind of NDA link have actually surfaced, and it's regarding the cash shop. And so I want to kind of jump in, give you guys my thoughts. I'm probably going to fall somewhere outside of the popular opinion when it comes to microtransactions, but I'm not here to defend New World. And honestly, I'm just going to give you my perspective of what is being shared with us, my thoughts on that, and then also a couple community thoughts as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video, but note that this is an open discussion. I'm not making this video to try and change your mind. I think when it comes down to microtransactions, pay to win, these are some serious conversations that you need to consider when you decide to whether you want to play a game or you want to maybe wait and see kind of how it shakes out in the long run. But also keep in mind, this is leaked information, subject to change. And I think a key phrase in this document itself kind of says that, hey, they're kind of considering this. So it has a lot of people on edge, and I figured I'd kind of weigh in, give you guys some perspective. And I'd love to know what you guys think in this case. But let's go ahead and dive into the actual premium currency shop internal testing document. And then we'll go ahead and continue on our conversation and I guess hopefully elaborate more on why I think the way I do and why I think this really isn't a concerning problem, at least today. But note that there are some red flags that you might want to consider depending on where you fall in the world. All right, so New World is introducing in-game purchases for special cosmetic items for players and for their in-game homes. They're going to sell cosmetics in the form of items, skins, dyes, company crests, and emotes. And they may well sell quality of life items or boosts that help the player improve their time spent leveling up their characters and their trade skill experience. They're committed on keeping the competitive systems fair and balanced for all customers, and purchases will not provide a competitive edge over other players who choose not to purchase additional items. During the May release, they're going to be testing their in-game store, and players will be seated with a new currency called Marks of Fortune. This can be purchased at a lumberjack skin, or they can then purchase a lumberjack skin, a premium emote, and a red or black gold dye packs. Probably misread that, but it's okay. For a limited time during the May in-game storefront, they will be activated for testing to test out the Marks of Fortune, and items that they acquire aren't going to be carried over. This is just kind of for testing. You're not going to keep them. They're not permanent as a part of this alpha test. First and foremost, I think overall, as much as we can, there is definitely an anti-microtransaction, movement within gaming. And for that, I would say, obviously the subscription model for MMOs really hasn't succeeded. And you could say, yes, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV still have subscriptions. 2 out of how many? 2 out of how many? And then you look at things like Game Pass, and that's essentially, I think, where the industry is going. And then you see also movements within, Ubisoft going more to the freemium kind of style game in and of itself. And it's really and can be concerning. As a gamer myself, I don't engage with those kind of systems. Very rarely do I do. Guild Wars 2 is an exception. And I think Guild Wars 2 is actually a really good example of a buy-to-play model, one that I hope New World is adequately analyzing and looking into to test. Because if you guys aren't aware of that system, yes, they have a premium currency called gems. Well, also, you can take and earn gold. You can take that gold, you can buy gems. You can take those gems, you can buy gold. It's this whole kind of economy. You use those gems to buy quality of life things. They even have boosts in Guild Wars 2, but I leveled up to 80 without any problem and had a really good experience without using a boost. And this is kind of where it gets kind of funny or can be concerning. I think if you have a good experience leveling and the boost is just additive, then who cares? At the end of the day, it's about the journey. There is a mindset, when we look at Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft, within modern MMOs, that the core of it is getting to endgame. And I can see how, if you say, hey, you're gonna slow down my leveling, so you kind of put up the pressure to get me to come in and spend money and buy a boost, that doesn't feel right. I think that kind of goes against establishing trust. I think that goes against the psychological mindset that we're having, saying, hey, has this been slowed down? Have they gated this so that it makes me feel pressured to spend money? That never feels good. And I think gamers like to actually spend money and support games that they trust and they have a good relationship with the developer, and they really want those to be successful. So for example, take out like the concept of boosts together. Somebody goes and plays the game. Hey, here's a really fast way to level up. If that's your thing, you can do that. It sets that kind of tone, and then the player can decide, if I want to do it faster, if I want to take it from 4 hours to 2 hours, well, what's 2 hours of my time worth? Is it worth me going and spending a little extra money? Because it does also then support the game and the developers. I don't like boosts. I don't. Now, if I could earn those boosts, if I could take the money that I make in game and turn that into the premium currency and buy those emotes, it sets up a what's my time worth investment. So a player who's adequately just spending time in the game probably would never need anything like this. A player who comes in and maybe takes long breaks, wants to get kind of caught up on a few things, maybe they find value in it. I'm not the police on how you spend your money. I'm not going to come and tell you how to spend your money. I just know how I manage mine. Now that's the Brian the gamer hat on. Now if we put Brian the parent hat on, I'm very concerned with like various different kind of mechanics when it comes to in-game items. I like to buy a game for my kid, and I like that game not to ask them for money because they don't know any better. And so it really also depends then who is your audience. I think MMORPGs tend to skew older, like 16 and up, older, as opposed to anything that my kids are currently actively asking me to play or play with them at this time. And that's where I'm not so concerned with Amazon wanting to have a cash shop. They said they were going to have a cash shop. We just haven't actually seen what they're going to put in the cash shop. So personally speaking, I'm not here to defend New World. Honestly, I think this is really a non-story. I think this is more than anything else like having that kind of fear. It's like, yeah, I think we should be able to give them feedback. I think if they're been doing what they've been doing this whole time is listening. But at the end of the day, if somebody wants to buy emotes, skins, and all that kind of stuff dies, cool. I think if they're tradable on the market, even better. And that's just what I would hopefully like to say in that regards. Now, another user, name in this case, I'm going to go ahead and highlight their post, kind of summarizes what I feel. And I'd love to know, again, your thoughts if I'm off base or if I'm just kind of missing the forest from the trees here. But they say, this is not a job simulator and you don't have a deadline for reaching endgame or max crafting skills. There is no need for Amazon to sell boosters, but they will because it makes money. There is no need to buy, for New World gamers to buy boosters, and there's no need for New World gamers to be upset about boosters. I think on this third part, that it's fine to be upset about it. It's fine to be concerned about. Like, Amazon has not yet established the credibility or in the trust that we have in them. Like, once they release the game, they release updates to the game, they communicate with the player base, then I think that can be established at that point. So, honestly, I would say, if anything, they should totally delay the cash shop at least for several months. I don't think I would like it if the cash shop didn't launch with the game, and then they can end up introducing that at a couple months down the road. But maybe that's a little bit foolish. Maybe just launch it with the game itself. But anyway, XP boost is not equal to pay to win because MMORPGs are not a race to endgame. That really depends on where your MMORPG history is. For me, it's not. Like, a part of the leveling is, and the world is experiencing all these things. If you're just trying to get to level cap and then you look around, there's nothing for you to do. Well, I mean, congrats. I guess you won, if that's how you feel winning is. My other thing I would say is that I think winning is individualized to the person. If, let's say, in Final Fantasy XIV, your thought of winning is having all the mounts, well, there are mounts that are locked behind a paywall, and so you have to pay to win, if that's your definition of winning. So I look at it more on an individual, personalized level rather than a generalized paying for power in this regards. Now, something like ESO's crafting bags may indeed be a reason to be upset for what people who do not intend to pay extra. And there's no reason to think that something like that will happen and they will be upset about their own speculations. Right now, this is all just general speculation at this point. There's, we can only speculate, and that's, can be fun, but in this case, it can also be concerning. At the end of the day, I'm actually happy that this information's out there to get people thinking and talking about what they want to see in the cash shop versus what they don't want to see in the cash shop. What's a deal breaker in the cash shop? The devs have showed they've been listening this whole time, and I don't think they're going to stop today. So especially let your voice be heard. At the core of it, like, this could easily be just a kind of a planned leak to get people's perspective, to get people talking, and to see what and if they do. There will be some gamers that, no matter what, will see like, oh my gosh, they were considering paying for boosts. I'm out. And honestly, I don't think they were going to ever be in the first place. It's really just comes down to preference. I don't put a lot of stake into it. I don't put a lot of worry into it. And if it ends up becoming grossly, just disgusting and ends up being kind of like, predatory in that regards, I'll talk to you guys about it. I'll tell you guys about it. And we'll avoid the game altogether. But I don't think we're going to be anywhere near that, at least anytime soon. But at the same time, I have no issue with Amazon wanting to make money off this game so that they can continue to make more New World. And we'll just have to ultimately wait and see how it all shakes out from here. Guys, if you have any thoughts about what I said or shared, if I need to clarify anything, sound off below. We might do a follow-up video if this video requires it, but I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks, guys, for being here. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. Hope to see you in my next video, but until then, take care. This video is sponsored by me, Ginger Prime. Hopefully you'll check out my podcast channel, Ginger Gaming Radio, which we have lots of guests, lots of great conversations, and even more highlights. Links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.